All right, good day and welcome to Commerce Today. My name is Darren Newbold and I'm here as always with Josh Warren, and we're very excited to have you for another episode of Commerce Today. Here we're going to be talking about the 7 deadly sins of e-commerce and avoiding those common pitfalls. Josh, this is, it just sounds fun.
Yeah, so this came out of a LinkedIn post that got a lot of reactions that I then wrote a longer newsletter article for. Apparently people like it. It's like I always try to be really positive and say, oh, here's what you should be doing, but say, no, here's the 7 deadly sins that can tank your e-commerce business. That caught some attention. I even had a great comment of someone that said that number 5 is something that all businesses need to be aware of, that so many of them are leaving money on the table because of it. And that was probably the most encouraging comment I've had in a while on LinkedIn.
Well, excellent. Well, for those of you just joining us right now, you need to stay tuned for sin number 5. So let's kick it off with sin number 1, just to start it off. Neglecting mobile optimization. Hey, everybody's on a mobile device, Josh. What do they got to do?
So on average, 50% or more of your customers are buying on mobile. And in some cohorts, it's actually much higher than that. Based on some comments and conversations I've had, I've realized that parents of young children, there's a really good chance that like 90% of their purchasing is happening on mobile. On the flip side of it, we actually have a client. I was looking at some of their stats. Only 20% of their traffic's on mobile. So it's not cut and dried. It's not always, everyone's on mobile, but it's definitely shifting in that way. Yet we still see sites that are not mobile optimized. And we have been talking about responsive design and mobile friendliness for about 10 years now. But just the other day, I actually had a potential new client I'm talking to where their site design is based on probably 2005, 2006 designs. And it flat out does not work on mobile. And if that's the case, you are losing customers left and right.
Well, what do we got to do to fix this? I think there's some quick, easy hits that you can help out with.
So there are some tests to see how mobile friendly your site is, see how bad of a problem that is. We'll link to the newsletter article that details all those in the show notes for the episode. I already mentioned responsive design, and I know a lot of y'all are probably thinking, yeah, Josh, we did that years ago. No, there's still some people who haven't done that. But then I think the thing that everyone thinks of around mobile optimization right now, and this is very true, is speed, is making sure that it's fast on mobile. And lots of times people don't think about the fact that, especially some older phones, they don't have the processing power of the latest and greatest phone. They might be running in an older version of Android, something like that, where they're going to have some different issues rendering your pages. And that brings me to the last practical fix for this is, don't just test it on one device. I have worked with so many clients where, the CEO, we know what phone he has, and that is the only phone that matters right, as far as that company is concerned. But kind of an interesting recommendation I saw recently was like, if your people are mainly testing on iPhones, make sure somebody grabs an Android tablet and different form factor, different operating system. That way you can test and make sure it still looks good there too.
Well, and there's even services that can do testing where you can test on multiple devices, or at least simulate testing on multiple devices to get you closer. So that's a great place to start. Well, moving on, sin number 2, complicating the checkout process. Wow. I personally run into this craziness. So talk us through this one, Josh.
Yeah, so complicated checkouts equal cart abandonment.
Amen.
I mean, it just breaks down that simple. And again, you might be thinking, oh, everybody knows, make checkout fast and simple. And you're probably even thinking, oh, my checkout's fast and simple. Is it? Have you tested it? Have you tested it? Again, kind of look at it from an iPhone and an Android device. There are so many checkouts out there, including some of the big platforms that I won't name and shame this time. But there's some that block Safari from autofilling credit card numbers. So then the person has to manually type in their credit card number. The worst offenders I've seen of this are the people that their site has this fancy system that's trying to show, oh, here's the Visa icon or the MasterCard icon as you type in the credit card number. But so many of those are implemented in a way that autofill doesn't work. And so You're just frustrating your customers. You're frustrating Darren.
Yes, very much.
And then they are going to buy from your competitor instead. So definitely think through the form fields. Do you have too many form fields in your checkout? Do you have too many required form fields? Are those form fields supporting autofill or not? Think about guest checkout, of course. I know some of you, especially some of the B2B brands we work with, guest checkout isn't always an option, but where possible, definitely offer that. And then provide multiple payment options. And there has been some contrarian research saying that sometimes too many payment options can overwhelm people. But I think for the most part, your customers, the payment options that they're going to resonate with. Make sure you're offering, more than just one or two. Again, especially if you have a whole lot of mobile users, offer some type of wallet-based payment. So Apple Pay, Google Pay, or both. Most of the better payment integrations for e-commerce now will support both. So there's no reason not to turn that on.
Yeah, that should be easy. That should just be an easy thing that everybody does. All right. So sin number 3, underestimating product content. I really want to hear about this one, Josh, because we talked about product content and all that quite a bit. So tell us about this one.
Yeah. So high quality product content. That can be as simple as high quality photos. I was having an interesting conversation on someone else's LinkedIn post this week about thinking through from the buyer's perspective. And in this case, I mean the buyer of that product line, not the customer. Thinking about like if you're selling a high-end fashion apparel item and it really requires like the reason people pay more for it is because of really fine stitching and really fine detail. You're going to need to get really good photos of that. And you can't just have one photo of the product. You're going to need multiple photos that really showcase why someone would pay more for this. And so often, again, especially in mobile, I see where they don't have those photos. So you can't really see the detail in the product. So people aren't going to buy it.
Or really having the ability to zoom in quickly and easily so you can zoom in on that high-end stitching and those kind of things. All right. Sin number 4.
I wasn't done with 3 yet.
Oh,
there's more.
There's more. There's more.
Yeah, try not to just steamroll through all my suggestions. But so having compelling descriptions. And I mean, in the age of ChatGPT and all the AI advancements, there is no reason why every single one of your products shouldn't have a unique, compelling description. And I'm not saying go out and have AI write them all for you and just post that. There's some really cool stuff I saw actually last summer at conferences being talked about where brands were taking spreadsheets and filling them in with some product data, feeding that into ChatGPT with some specific prompts that it then put back in the spreadsheet. And then human reviewers would go through and basically craft the final description. And they were coming up with some amazing product descriptions that way. Video content, size guides, and then also, and this again, I feel like I've talked about this. I know I've talked about this for over 10 years now, but SEO. So
tried and true.
What comes to mind for me is if you are selling products that, and there's a case I always think of, we were working with a power equipment parts site. So they sold anything you might need to fix a lawnmower. Well, those parts, what works for a Honda engine and lawnmower might also work on a Ryobi. So having on the product detail page that cross-reference of all the different part numbers, but also displaying that in a way that it was really easy for Google to understand and find that information on the page, that was a game changer for them. Once we implemented that, they got so much more organic traffic. So you got to think not just the basics of SEO and optimization of your product pages, but think through like what unique data do you have that customers might be searching for.
That's a really interesting and really great tweak is that cross-reference products. All right, sin number 3. Have you covered it? I don't want to go.
We can move on.
All right, sin number 4, ignoring customer feedback. How does that affect the whole process?
Yeah, so you ignore your customer feedback and you are not going to build trust. And if you do not have trust, you are not going to drive sales and conversions. So definitely this can be product reviews. This can be feedback, questions that get emailed to you. Make sure, obviously, you're posting product reviews. I've seen more and more conversations about how consumers are getting smarter and realizing that if all the reviews for a product are 5 stars, then you're probably only approving the 5-star reviews. Don't do that. Definitely, if there's a negative review that is completely off base, that isn't even about the product, it makes sense. Don't remove that one.
Right.
But if someone has a legitimate gripe with the product, post it, but then respond to it. And then I think the smartest brands then take that back to either their purchasing team or their product design team and say, hey, here's both the good and bad feedback we're getting on this product. How can we make the product better? How can we buy a new product that maybe is a better fit for what these customers are looking for? There's a lot of value in even those negative reviews.
Interesting. And I don't know if you've noticed this or not. We've talked about the big A store out there, but they're now showing how common something is to be returned, which I have started to find that quite interesting and helpful. So, all right, for those of you that have been staying tuned for that number 5 sin, here it is: neglecting post-purchase communications. This one's a biggie.
Oh, yeah. And I had a little bit more fun with the LinkedIn article about this. And the article actually called it Post-Purchase Silence, the Art of Ghosting Your Customers. And that's really what some brands are doing, is they're just completely ignoring their customers. Basically, when you if a customer goes to your website, you serve them, you let them purchase from you, but you're not following up, you're not reaching out. And so it's so important. They give you their email address. Some of them will even give you their cell phone number. You need to be messaging your customers. This can literally be as simple as order updates. So here in Texas, we all love H-E-B. H-E-B's done some cool stuff with curbside, but I actually noticed just this week that when you pick up a curbside order from H-E-B, you immediately get a text saying you picked up your curbside order. But that's literally all it says. There's no bounce back. There's no encouragement to sign up for a loyalty program. There's no link. There's nothing. And that is such a huge missed opportunity where they could simply say, hey, some of the locations have a barbecue store. Say, hey, pop in, pick up some barbecue, 5% off if you show this code. So many things you could do to kind of drive more sales and incremental revenue. Obviously, then also some brands will have a welcome series depending on your product and what you're selling. You could have a series of emails after someone makes a first purchase. Loyalty programs don't have to be as complicated as some people think. I have seen amazing things done just with free Facebook groups. And personalized recommendations, obviously building in some personalization into the post-purchase communication.
Yeah, that all sounds fantastic, and it's so important. We don't want to be ghosting our clients after they've made a purchase. So, all right, moving forward, sin number 6, overlooking the data analytics. Tell us about that one. Analytics, so important.
Yeah, so obviously make sure you have analytics installed. Make sure it's working. We have taken on clients from other agencies or that we're doing things in-house, and we'll ask them, hey, can we get access to your Google Analytics? Like, oh, yeah, we have it. We have Google Analytics. Okay, can we get access to it? Oh, well, that was Bob that set that up, and Bob's not here anymore, so we'll get back to you. And then maybe a few months later, we get access, and we discover that, it hasn't been working for years. And so obviously make sure you have some sort of analytics installed and working. To me, analytics, it's almost like backups. A lot of IT professionals say that you really only can say that you have backups when you actually try to use them and successfully restore something. So use your analytics, make sure you can actually pull data from it, and then really, just dig in. There's so much information. It's so exciting, honestly. Being on the e-commerce side of things, we get so much more data than stores do because we can see exactly where your mouse was hovering over, and we can see where you clicked and how long you spent in each step of the purchase process. So definitely use that information. Also use it, though, to segment out your audience, your customers. You may actually have 2, 3, 7 different personas that are buying from you. And if you can really dig into the analytics and segment that out, that can help you in your personalization efforts. And also look at your site search, look at what terms are people searching for. And actually for some of the omni-channel retailers we work with, we've seen some interesting things in the site search that help us basically realize, hey, y'all have a problem with people not knowing how to navigate your stores. And so we're able to dig into that and actually help on the store and the physical retail side of things just by looking at the analytics and looking at the site search terms.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I know there's episodes that we've talked about many of these things. So even going back and reviewing some of the episodes that we've had on analytics can always be helpful. Well, bringing it to a finale, number 7, sin number 7, providing subpar customer service. This is almost as bad as ghosting them, but not quite, because now you've talked to them, but it wasn't any good.
Exactly. So, the basics are provide good customer service, train your customer service people well, have the right policies in place. But even with all of that, something's going to happen. I mean, it is not possible to have a perfect 100% satisfaction rating with anything that involves customer service. So also have some recovery procedures in place. And I know we've had episodes where we've talked about Disney and Disney's approach to quality service and how they have kind of recovery processes. And I think that's such a good thing to go back and listen to that episode or look up what Disney says about that. So just knowing that, hey, somebody can have a bad experience and then how you react to that. Like I'm amazed when I see a brand go viral because some customer service person went off on a customer. And it's like, oh, that's not like this day and age. You have to realize anything you say in a customer service interaction could be screenshot and pasted all over Reddit. So just train your people, give them the right resources, set really good, clear time expectations. Like if it takes you 3 days to get back to an email, at least say in your autoresponder, you will get a response back in 3 days. Then this is another area where AI is making leaps and bounds. So many companies now have seen 50% or more of their customer service interactions are able to be answered by an LLM or an AI. And then also just having a knowledge base. If you don't want to go full AI, at least have a good customer service knowledge base that is exposed to your customers so they can self-serve some of those things.
And one of the things that I've seen even a little bit in this whole customer service range is make sure you're monitoring and measuring the things that you just mentioned, Josh, the time and the response, because if you don't measure it or if you don't keep track of it, then even if you have great customer service, but yet it takes 3 days to get any good customer service, you may not be really meeting what the customer needs. All right. Well, as a quick recap of our 7 deadly sins, we talked about mobile optimization, how important that is, can't be neglected. We don't want to complicate our checkout process in any way, shape, or form. So make it work right. And please, for the love of goodness, make it so that if you have Apple, it will autofill credit card stuff. At least for me anyway. Thank you. All right, moving on. Sin number 3, underestimating product content. It's got to be great, got to be valid and important. We don't want to, number 4, ignoring customer feedback. Never do that. You want to be able to provide that and have that there. Don't want to neglect or ghost our customers. So note neglect post-purchase communication. Sin number 6, overlooking data analytics. You got all the data there. Take a look at it, use it, analyze it. And then lastly, provide great customer service. Don't provide subpar customer service. With all that, Josh, I know you have a final message here to kind of share with everyone about this Commerce Today, as well as your posts on Joshua Warren at LinkedIn.
Yep. So definitely please follow me on LinkedIn. I'm Joshua Warren. You'll see a Creatuity gold background behind my headshot because there are many Joshua Warrens on LinkedIn. I had 4 Joshuas in my kindergarten class. My mom picked, I think, the most common name of the year I was born. That rant aside, sorry, Mom. I would say also subscribe. If you follow me on LinkedIn, LinkedIn will automatically recommend that you subscribe to E-commerce Insights. It's a little weekly LinkedIn newsletter I do. It's where this content actually originated. And I'm really excited about next week's episode. So I've been saying for weeks that want to have more merchants on the show and inviting y'all to reach out to me if you'd like to be a guest. And next week, I will be interviewing Nick D. Nichols. He's a 10-year veteran of e-commerce marketplaces and Amazon leadership. He's been a conference speaker. Really, the list of accolades is long. And I'm really excited to have him join Commerce Today and give the merchant's point of view. I think it's going to be a great episode. So keep an eye out for that next week.
That is so awesome. Well, with that, we appreciate you being here. As always, we look forward to hearing from you. Feel free to reach out to us at any time. And
we won't ghost you.
We won't ghost you. Yep, that's right. And as always, thanks again. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you next time here at Commerce Today. Take care.